1923 Season 3 unleashes an explosive reckoning as family bonds fracture, buried betrayals erupt, and a shocking twist rewrites everything we thought we knew about Yellowstone's most ruthless dynasty. Will the Duttons survive their own blood? Beneath the vast, untamed skies of 1920s Montana, where survival is etched into the land itself, the Duttons have always ruled with grit, guns, and an unbreakable code of family loyalty. Until now. 1923 Season 3 storms onto the screen with a seismic shift that threatens to fracture the very roots of Yellowstone's most formidable dynasty. As old wounds bleed fresh chaos and buried secrets claw their way to the surface, the Duttons face enemies both within and beyond their ranks. Betrayals ignite like wildfire, long-hidden alliances collapse, and a jaw-dropping revelation upends decades of lineage, forcing the family to confront a chilling question. How much blood must spill to protect the legacy? With power vacuums, shifting loyalties, and the origins of the Yellowstone Ranch hanging in the balance, this season doesn't just shake the family tree, it aims an axe at its trunk. Prepare for a brutal new era, where survival isn't just about conquering the land but surviving each other. 1923 Season 3 plunges into the heart of the Dutton dynasty's existential crisis, where the relentless pursuit of power collides with the fragile bonds of kinship. This season interrogates the cost of legacy. What happens when the very family sworn to protect the empire becomes its greatest threat? As betrayal fractures trust, long-buried sins resurface, and outsiders stake claim to the Dutton name, the line between savior and destroyer blurs. The land demands sacrifice, but this time, the price may be the family itself. With shifting allegiances, explosive revelations, and moral decay mirroring the lawlessness of the American West, the season asks, can a legacy built on violence survive without devouring its heirs? Here, survival isn't just about defending the ranch, it's about confronting whether the Duttons are destined to conquer or self-destruct. The third season of 1923 opens in the aftermath of explosive clashes that left the Dutton Ranch scarred but standing. Victory is short-lived, however, as Jacob Dutton and Cara Dutton rally to rebuild amid a harsh winter that strains resources and amplifies generational tensions. Jacob's iron-fisted leadership clashes with the younger Dutton's hunger for change, particularly Spencer, who returns from Africa with Alex, determined to carve his own path. John Dutton grapples with guilt over past violence, questioning whether the ranch's survival is worth the moral decay it demands. The fragile peace shatters when Maeve Donovan, a shrewd lawyer from Helena, arrives with a bombshell claim. Her late mother was the illegitimate daughter of James Dutton, making her a rightful heir to the Yellowstone. Armed with forged letters and an intimate knowledge of Dutton's secrets, Maeve launches a legal and psychological siege against the family. Her true motive is to reclaim the land for her Blackfoot ancestry, exposing the ranch's origins on stolen tribal territory. As her lawsuit gains traction, external enemies circle a coalition of cattle barons led by the ruthless Colton Hatch, who orchestrates raids on Dutton herds and bribes officials to seize critical water rights. The family's internal fractures deepen. Elizabeth Strayford, pregnant with Jack's child, uncovers letters implicating John Dutton in the murder of a rival rancher, a crime pinned on an innocent Blackfoot man. Torn between loyalty and justice, she becomes Mav's reluctant informant. Meanwhile, Cara's investigation into Mav's past reveals a chilling truth. Maeve is not James' descendant, but the daughter of Claire Dutton, Jacob's estranged sister, who fled the family after a bitter inheritance dispute. Claire's decades-old vendetta fuels Mav's revenge, culminating in a plot to destroy the Dutton legacy. Chaos peaks as Hatch's orchestrated stampede decimates the Dutton herds, and Maeve's lawsuit unearths a 19th century treaty proving the Yellowstone's land was illegally seized. Public opinion turns against the Duttons, and the governor threatens to revoke their deed. Spencer confronts Jacob about Claire's existence, unearthing a buried tragedy. Claire was drowned for refusing it. Text cuts off here. Feel free to provide the ending or continuation if you'd like help completing it. A strategic marriage led to her eventual suicide. Jacob's decision to erase her from history now haunts them all. In a desperate bid for survival, Kara brokers an alliance with the Blackfoot tribe, offering land in exchange for support against Hatch. But trust collapses when Elizabeth leaks the plan to Maeve, triggering an ambush that kills Dutton allies. The season explodes in a finale of blood and fire. Spencer and Alex lead a suicidal charge against Hatch's men, while Jacob confronts Maeve in a brutal showdown. Fatally wounded by her rifle, Jacob reveals Claire's final letter, a confession of love for the family she once hated. Kara, cradling Jacob's body, strikes a pact with the Blackfoot chief, half the ranch in exchange for Maeve's exile. The tribe agrees, executing Maeve in a haunting ritual. The Duttons emerge fractured but alive. Spencer and Alex vanish into the wilderness, vowing to escape the ranch's shadow. Kara burns Jacob's will, which had disinherited Claire's line, and drafts a new legacy pledging to share the land with the Blackfoot. Yet as she surveys the smoldering ruins, a voiceover lingers. No one gives up power willingly. Not even a Dutton. The third season of 1923 escalates the Dutton struggle through a dual assault of external adversaries and internal betrayals. Externally, the family faces Maeve Donovan, a lawyer whose claim to the Yellowstone through her alleged lineage to James Dutton masks a deeper vendetta. Her true identity ties her to Claire Dutton, Jacob's estranged sister, erased from family history after refusing a strategic marriage and later taking her own life. Maeve weaponizes her mother's bitterness and her Blackfoot ancestry, leveraging a 19th century treaty to prove that the Dutton land was stolen from indigenous tribes. Her legal siege, combined with forged letters and leaked secrets, turns public opinion against the family and emboldens foes like Colton Hatch, a vengeful cattle baron. Hatch orchestrates raids on Dutton herds, bribes officials to seize water rights, and engineers a deadly stampede, crippling the ranch economically. Meanwhile, the Blackfoot Nation, initially courted as allies by Kara, becomes a volatile force. Their tentative pact with the Duttons collapses after Elizabeth Strafford pregnant and guilt-ridden over John Dutton Sar's past crimes betrays Kara's plan, triggering an ambush that kills several allies. Internally, fractures deepen as generational divides and buried truths surface. Spencer's return from Africa sparks clashes with Jacob's ruthless tactics, while John Dutton Sar's guilt over past violence paralyzes his leadership. Elizabeth's moral crisis drives her to leak secrets to Maeve, symbolizing the younger generation's struggle with the family's legacy of lies. Kara's discovery of Maeve's true parentage, Claire's daughter, exposes the Duttons' history of sacrificing family for power, a theme mirrored in Claire's erasure and the broader marginalization of women and indigenous voices. Jacob's refusal to acknowledge Claire's existence haunts the family, culminating in a fatal confrontation where Maeve kills him, just before the Blackfoot execute her in a ritual act of retribution. These converging threats, legal, economic, and familial, force the Duttons to relinquish half their land and confront their moral decay. Spencer and Alex flee the ranch's shadow. Kara burns Jacob's will to draft a new legacy, and a post-credits tease hints at unresolved ghosts from the past. The season's enemies, both external and internal, leave the family fractured, their power diminished, and their future uncertain, a reckoning with the cost of legacy in a land built on blood and betrayal. The dust settles over the Yellowstone ranch as the Duttons stagger out of the ashes of their own making. Jacob Dutton's funeral passes against a blood-orange horizon, its smoke mingling with the remnants of Kara's resolve. She stands amid the scorched earth, clutching Claire's final letter, a confession of love and loathing, now the only relic of a sisterhood erased by pride. The family's pact with the Blackfoot is sealed. Half the land returned a hollow penance for a legacy soaked in loss. Spencer and Alex vanish into the wilderness, their wagon cutting tracks through the Montana snow. Behind them, the ranch shrinks, a fading monument to a dynasty built on blood. Spencer's vow hangs in the air. We won't let our children pay for this. Yet the wilderness offers no promises, only echoes of the violence they flee. In the ranch's skeletal shadow, Kara Dutton kneels in Jacob's study, flames devouring his will, a document that once disinherited Claire's line. In its place, she drafts a new covenant, inking a fragile truce with the Blackfoot. But as she signs her name, the wind howls through bullet-riddled walls, whispering Jacob's ghostly warning, "You can't rewrite history, Kara. It rewrites you." The season's final frame lingers on the Yellowstone's new border, a jagged split between Dutton soil and reclaimed tribal land. A storm brews on the horizon, dark and inevitable. The sheepherder's cabin sits silent, snowdrifts burying its secrets. Inside, the elderly Claire Dutton, alive, her suicide a carefully staged ruse, clutches a faded photograph of Jacob. A knock rattles the door. She opens it to face a young stranger with James Dutton's blue eyes. "I'm Thomas Dutton," he says, Claire's grandson. Her breath hitches. Behind him, a horse carries a woman, Maeve's twin, hidden at birth, her gaze sharp as a scalpel. "We're here to finish what Maeve started," she says, unfolding a map of the Yellowstone. The Dutton Empire teeters on the edge of collapse as the season hurtles toward its brutal conclusion. In the shadow of Jacob Dutton's grave, Kara stands alone on the Yellowstone's war-torn plains, clutching the deed to the ranch now halved by her pact with the Blackfoot Nation. The land, once a symbol of unshakable power, is now a patchwork of scorched earth and blood-soaked snow. Around her, the family splinters. Spencer and Alex abandon the ranch, their wagon disappearing into the horizon. John Dutton Sr. buries himself in whiskey and regret, unable to face the carnage his choices wrought. Elizabeth, cradling her newborn son, flees to a distant cousin's homestead, her betrayal of Kara haunting her every step. In a final act of defiance, Kara gathers the family in the ranch's crumbling great room. She tosses Jacob's will, a document that disinherited Claire's line and cemented their isolation, into the fire. "We don't get to choose who we are," she declares, her voice like steel. "But we can choose what we leave behind." She unveils a new covenant, signed in shaky ink, half the Yellowstone ceded to the Blackfoot, and a vow of reparations. The room falls silent, the weight of the gesture hanging like a guillotine. But the Duttons' reckoning is not complete. As night falls, Kara rides to the border of the reclaimed tribal land. There, she buries Claire's final letter, a plea for forgiveness, beneath a gnarled cottonwood. "You deserved better," she whispers. But so do they. A Blackfoot elder watches from afar, his nod a fragile acknowledgement of a debt finally faced.